Okay, so we have completed the rate law lab, and now I am going to give you a couple hints on how to graph this data. Let's take a look at the rubric. So you should have had three trials completed in lab. So we have completed 1, 2, and 3 here. And then on your own time, you should have created an average time by adding up the first 3 trials and dividing by 3, and then filling in this column here for rate. All you do is do 1 divided by the average time. Once you have those 2 columns filled up, let's take a look at our rubric. It says for graphs, you need to graph 2 with all aspects labeled such as title, axes, and scale points. So that's what I'm going to show you in this video. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to Excel. This is Microsoft Office Excel. I'm going to show you how to use Google Docs right after this. But I have created a column for drops of thiosulfate, 10 down to 3, and then I have populated the cells next to it with the right average time and also a column for the rate. So that'll be the first step. You need to populate these cells. Okay, now what we're going to do is create charts. So I'm going to highlight this first one. I'm going to hold the Control button so that I can select another column here. Once you have both of those highlighted, you're going to go up to the Insert button, and then here are your options for charts. So I'm going to go to the Scatter Plot one, and you have several different options here. You can go regular scatter plot. What I'd like you guys to create is one that has the dots connected if possible. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now, my rubric says that I need a chart title, so I'm going to go ahead and add, this is going to be drops versus time. Okay, now I want to add axes titles because that's what my rubric says, so I'm going to go to this little plus button over here. Click on that. It has chart elements. I'm going to find the axes titles. Click on that. And once you're there, you can add your titles. Drops is on the X, time is on the Y. So there's one. Okay, and I can drop that into my lab report. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to highlight the drops, hit Control, and I can highlight a second column. And again, insert. I'm going to insert a scatter plot. My title is going to be drops versus, and this time this is called rate. This is our reaction rate. Okay, so we've taken the inverse of our time, 1 over time. Again, I'm going to hit the plus button to add titles. This is going to be rate on the y-axis and drops on the x-axis. Okay, now a part of your lab, let's go back to the lab. When we are graphing, it says using a graphing program, prepare 2 graphs. On one graph, plot time on the y, drops on the x. So that's the first one. On the second, plot rate on the y and drops on the x. So we created both of those, but now it says draw a best fit line on both. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you next. Let's draw a best fit line. Let's take the first graph. When you're on the graph, I want you to select the data points. Just click on it right there. Right click and you'll have a list of options. And it says add trend line. A trend line is also known as a line of best fit. So on the first one, we have this kind of exponential curve. Okay, and so that's what I want you guys to highlight here. I'd like you to select an exponential trend line. And that's it. So let's do the next one. Your rate. Click on the data, add trend line, and we're going to make this one a linear fit. So you're going to select this linear line right here. And that's all I need. So you're going to take these 2 and drop them in. So if you're using Excel, you can stop here. If you're using Google Docs, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that next. Here's Google Docs. I've done the same thing. I've inputted all my data. Drops, time, and rate. So now I'm going to show you how to do a chart here. Highlight one, hit the Control button, and you can highlight another. Looks a little bit different on Google Sheets, excuse me. We're going to insert, and then you have to go down to chart here. Now, it populates into a bar graph, but that's not what we want. So on the right side, you're going to head over, to chart type, and you're going to change it. I actually want you to scroll down, and you're going to hit a scatter plot here. Okay. Now, Google Sheets is nice. They give you the axes here, and sometimes they already populate. So if you put a heading up here, these three, if you put that in there, it's going to auto-populate the titles, which is nice. And it auto-populates a title here. So the only thing you need to do is add a trend line. So when you're on your graph and you have these options, you're going to go to Customize, and you're going to find where it says Series. Scroll down, and there's going to be a little checkbox for a trend line. On the first one, you want exponential. And then you're done. Now we're going to do the other chart. Highlight first one, Control. I have highlighted both of those, so I'm going to insert a chart. I don't want a bar graph, so I'm going to have to go over here to Chart Type, and I'm going to scroll down and hit Scatter Plot. And then I want to go Customize, Series, and then I want to add a trend line. And then we're going to make this one linear. And there are your two graphs. Okay. Message me if you have any questions. Thank you.